Hello, my name is Sonia. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be making a hat, and for this project I am going to be using my H hook or 5mm hook, and you are going to need 3 different colors. And this is a Christmas themed hat, so I'm using green, I got red, and I've got my white. So what you're going to need to do is establish which one is going to be your background color. So I'm going to be using this green here, and it's worsted weight yarn number 4. You could also use I think like a heavier DK weight yarn would be fine. I mean, you can certainly use a DK weight yarn or even a lighter weight yarn if you want, you know, more of a child size hat. But this one's going to be for an adult, and it should fit most adult heads here. And so I am going to be using this classic Red Heart Super Saver because, you know, we got a lot of her. So this is going to be my background color. And this hat is going to have one of my favorite things. We're going to have some crazy bows. This is a crazy Christmas hat. But I already made one. I like totally love it. It's so crazy. I'm probably going to be using it when I have to shovel snow outside and embarrass my kids, and you know what, I don't care. And it's actually a really nice warm hat too. It's super fun and I just totally love it. Alright, so this hat's going to be made bottom up. So we're going to start at the hat band and then work our way up to the crown. So to get started, you are going to need to work foundation single crochet, and we're going to work 80 foundation single crochet. So if you've never done that before, I'm going to show you. So you're going to chain 2. So you have your 2 chains, and we are going to insert your hook into the second chain from your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, you're going to chain 1, yarn over, and pull through the final 2. So you've actually created 1 foundation single crochet. So this, unfortunately, I'm using this darker green, but here is our chain that we created. To make the second one, you're going to insert your hook into that chain, pull up your loop. We've got our 2 loops. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, or chain 1, and yarn over, pull through the 2. So we'll do that one more time. So there is the second chain there. You're going to insert your hook right in that chain, pull up your loop, chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through the final 2. So you're creating your foundation single crochet, and I really do like using it for hat bands because it's got a nice stretchy feel, so you know, very comfortable for a hat. So what you're going to want to do is continue to work a total of 80 foundation single crochets. So I'm going to keep going, just going to keep working my foundation single crochets until I have 80. So I will meet you back. Alright, so I have worked my 80 foundation single crochets. So now what we need to do is we need to turn this row into a round. So it's row 1 / round 1. So what I like to do is I just take my thumb and my index finger and I just run it down, because you do not want it to be twisted. And now we're ready to go to start round 2. So what we're going to do is we are going to work an extended single crochet into that first stitch there. And what we're going to be doing is working in continuous rounds. So if you never made extended single crochet, so I inserted my hook like I was working a regular single crochet. I'm yarning over, chaining 1, yarning over, pulling through the 2. So that's 1 extended single crochet. So you just have 1 extra step. So I'm going to put my hook in my next stitch, pull up my loop, so I have my 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, or chain 1, and yarn over, pull through 2. So since we're working in continuous rounds, that means we will not be joining. So what you want to do is you want to insert a stitch marker into your last stitch from round 1 / row 1, because it started out as a row and we turned it into a round. So I'm just using a scrap piece of yarn to mark that last stitch so that I know where my last stitch is and where my first stitch starts, because it can get confusing. So what we're going to do for round 2 is we're going to continue working extended single crochet all the way around. So at the end of my round, I will have a total of 80 extended single crochet, and I absolutely love extended single crochet, one of my favorite stitches. So you know I had to make a project in this series with extended single crochet. Alright, so I just finished up my round 2 there. So you'll notice there's a gap here. So when you're finishing your hat, you're just going to take your tail, and what I like to do is just take my yarn needle, poke it through there, and thread that tail through, and then that helps to close that guy up. As I mentioned before, you're going to want to use a stitch marker to mark your last stitch. And I was getting a little ahead of myself because I said we're going to work in continuous rounds, and we will for much of this project. But for this band section, we're working on the band, we are not. So you will want to join in your first stitch with a slip stitch. Alright, so we're working on the band right now. So to get started for round 3, you're going to chain 1 right in that same stitch where we joined, work extended single crochet. And then now we're going to work a front post extended single crochet around the next stitch here. So it's just like working a regular, like a front post double crochet, but we're doing it front post extended single crochet. So you're going to put your hook around that stitch and then work a regular extended single crochet, but it's extended single crochet, front post extended single crochet. Can't say that for some reason. So we're going to work our next stitch regular extended single crochet. So it can be a little confusing. You're just going to go right in, see that space there? You're going to insert your hook in that space and work your extended single crochet. And we're going to work our next stitch front post. So you might think that you're going to work in this one, but you're actually going to work into the next one. So we're working front post extended single crochet, and you're going to alternate around working regular extended single crochet, and then your next stitch is, oops, I'm yarning over, I don't want to do that. Our next stitch is front post extended single crochet all the way around. So regular extended single crochet and then front post extended single crochet. So you're going to do that all the way around, and so then your last stitch here is going to be a front post extended single crochet, and then you want to join in that first stitch. So you're going to repeat that all the way around for round 3. Alright, so I'm finishing up my round 3. So my last stitch here is working that front post extended single crochet, and I'm going to join in my first stitch with a slip stitch, and then round 3 is complete. So you can see we're working on that band. Alright, so now we're going to get started on round 4. So we're going to just repeat what we did for round 3. So I'm chaining 1, and I'm inserting my hook in there and working my first extended single crochet right in that same stitch. And it'll be a lot easier to find the post stitch because we've already created it, and you're going to just work in the one that we already made. So just put your hook around there and work your front post extended single crochet. So our next stitch here, regular extended single crochet, and back to the post stitch. So you're just going to keep going around working extended single crochet and front post extended single crochet all the way around for round 4. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I am finishing up my last stitch here, post stitch, and what you're going to want to do is then attach your next color. So I'm going to be using red because I'm doing Christmas colors. It's a Christmas theme hat, but I mean this one could actually, you know, you could use any color combination if you wanted to. And I'm going to carry my color, so I'm just going to let the green just hang out in the wrong side of the hat, and I am going to join in my first stitch here. So I do promise we will be doing continuous rounds for a good part of this hat, but we're just not quite there yet, but we're going to be there soon. Alright, so now we're going to get ready for round 5. So I'm just going to chain 1. I'm going to do a regular single crochet right in that same stitch. And I'm just going to continue to single crochet all the way around. So we still have our 80 stitches here. And this hat uses fairly basic stitches. So I'm going to keep going, just working my regular single crochet all the way around for round 5. And then at the end of round 5, I'm going to be changing to my third color, which is going to be white. So in your last stitch, you're going to want to change to your third color. Alright, so I am finishing up round 5 and getting ready to change to my third color, and I am not going to be cutting my red or my green because I'm going to be picking them up very shortly. I'm going to carry them up my hat. So the less ends to weave in, the better. I'm always trying to come up with ways to not have as many ends. So I've changed to my third color, and I'm going to join in my first stitch with a slip stitch there, and we're going to get ready to work round 6. So I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to repeat round 5. We're just going to single crochet all the way around, and then at the end of my round 6 I'm going to change back to my green here. So I'm going to single crochet in that same stitch and just continue to single crochet with my white here all the way around for round 6, and then in my last stitch I will be changing to my color green. Alright, so I'm finishing up round 6 and picking up my green there, changing to green, and I'm going to join in my first stitch with slip stitch. And I am going to cut the white because we will be using it, but not for a while, and we're going to be using the red and green for a while, or immediately. So whites, that would be a really long carry, so we can cut the white because I'm not going to be using that one for a while, but red and green we're going to keep. Alright, so I'm going to chain 1, and for round 7 we're just going to repeat again. We're going to do a single crochet round, so chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, and we're just going to single crochet all the way around. For round 7 here. And soon we will be doing the continuous rounds, so you're probably like, when are we getting to it? And we will be. So I'm going to keep going here for round 7, just working my single crochet round, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I have finished up round 7 here. So now we are going to be getting into some color work, creating some pictures with our red and green here. And what we're going to be doing is the green is going to be my background color, and the red here that I'm using is going to be my picture color. And I didn't want to have any floats, so what you're going to want to do is when you're not using the red to create your picture, you're actually going to stitch around the red. So it's kind of like sandwiched in between your stitches. So I'll show you what I mean as we get going. So I am going to join in my first stitch with a slip stitch with my green here. So that's my background color. And what you're going to be doing with this color work sequence, it's going to be a sequence of 20. And I'll have a written pattern for this, and there will be a chart, but this one's not too complicated, so I think, you know, it should be okay doing it on the video. Alright, so what I'm going to want to do is pick up my red here to get it ready to go, because I am going to be sandwiching this guy in between my stitches until I'm ready to use it. So my first stitch here I'm going to chain 1. We're going to be working back in extended single crochet again. I'm going to insert my hook right in that same stitch, and I want to get my red too. So I'm going to sandwich that guy in between, and I'm just pulling up my loop so you can see that my red is going to be in between there. I'm going to chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2. So I've created my first extended single crochet, and it's going to be a sequence of 20. So with green, your first stitch is going to be green, your red's going to be in between, and your first 7 stitches are going to be green in this sequence of 20 for round 8. So that's stitch 1. So this is stitch 2. So you can see it's pretty simple, just stitching around that red. 3. You just want to, every once in a while, give it a little tug, because sometimes it can kind of bunch up in there and you don't want that. And you also don't want it to be too tight either. So just have a nice even tension. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have a nice little situation there on Earth. And it's even being pulled from the center skein, but you know, we got to do that. Okay, so where are we again? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so stitch 7, still green, but our next 2 stitches, 8 and 9, are going to be red. So I'm going to finish off stitch 7 with the red to get it ready to go. So I'm just pulling through those last 2 stitches with red, and then I usually like to just give this a little tug on the green so that the stitch looks nice and uniform and even with the rest of them. So now we are going to be working stitches 8 and 9 with red, so you're going to sandwich the green, stitch around the green. So I have my green down there, I'm just going to get my red and work my extended single crochet around that green. So that's stitch 8, this is stitch 9, and now stitches 10 and 11 are going to be green again. So I'm going to finish off stitch 9 with green. So this is stitch 10 with green, 11 with green, and 12 and 13 are going to be red. So I'm going to finish off that stitch with red. So 12 is red, 13 is red, and then we're going to be back to green again. So stitches 14 through 20 are going to be green, and then that was our first sequence. So let's finish that up. And 20. And that is going to be your sequence all the way around for round 8 here. So stitches 1 through 7 are green, 8 and 9 are red, or we could do color A, color B, and then the white is color C. So why don't we do this? So color A, stitches 1 through 7 is color A, 8 and 9 are color B, 10, 11 color A, 12, 13 color B, 14 through 20 is color A. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around. And then your last stitch, we are not going to be joining. So you will want to put a stitch marker in your last stitch. So just continue. As you can see, we have stitched around. So our yarn is sandwiched in between there and just creates a nice neat look. There's no floats, nothing to catch on there. So I'm going to keep going working my round 8 and I will meet you back. Alright, so I finished up my round 8. I'm just going to pop in my stitch marker here because now we will be working continuous rounds. And let's get ready for round 9. So round 9 is actually going to be a repeat of round 8. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to work your color B on top of your other color B. It's going to be the same exact sequence. So that makes it pretty easy. So I'm just going to be jumping right into round 9 here, not joining. And oops, I need to make sure I'm sandwiching my red. I'm not doing that, because we're still carrying that red around, or that color B still needs to be carried around when you're not using it. So I'm just going to keep going here for round 9. So again, that's a repeat of round 8. So I will meet you back at the end of my round 9. Alright, so I'm finishing up my round 9 here. And I just need to pop my stitch marker in my last stitch, and then we'll get ready for round 10. So you might be wondering why we are using extended single crochet with this color work section. I could use the waistcoat stitch, but that can be a little bit, or split single crochet, a little bit tricky to, you know, really poke your hook in there. I like the extended single crochet for color work because the stitches stack up really nice. When you're using regular single crochet, they tend to slant when you're working in the round, and these guys do not. And it's a nice flat stitch. It's pretty comfortable around the head too. I like using it for like socks, mittens. It's a great stitch. It's very versatile. Alright, so let's get ready for round 10. So keeping up with our sequence of 20, your first 8 stitches are going to be with color A. And continuing to carry your other color that's not being used around. So stitches 1, 2. Love that acrylic, that squeak. 4. Ugh. Actually, I don't love that sound. It's horrible. 5. 6. I was gifted with so much acrylics. I'm trying to use it up. 7. And stitch 8. So now I'm going to finish off stitch 8 with my color B. So stitch 9 is going to be color B, and then stitches 10 and 11 are going to be color A again. So I need to finish off stitch 9 and stitches 10 and 11 are color A, and then stitch 12 is color B, and stitches 13 through 20 are color A. $19 and stitch 20. And I'm just going to give that color B a little bit of a tug, because you don't want to see that poking through like a loop. Sometimes it can loop, so you just every once in a while just want to give it a tug. So just a quick recap: with color A, stitches 1 through 8 are going to be color A, stitch 9 is color B, 10, 11 color A, 12 color B, and stitches 13 through 20 are going to be color A. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around for round 10. Alright, so we finished up our round 10, so let's get ready for round 11, and I've marked my stitch. So stitches 1, 2, and 3 in our sequence of 20 will be color A. And after stitch 3, you're going to switch to color B. And stitches 4 through 7 are going to be color B. And we're going to switch back to color A. So 8 and 9 are going to be color B. Or color A, I'm sorry, 8 and 9 are color A. and 10 and 11 are color B. Getting ahead of myself there. 12 and 13 are color A. And stitches 14 through 17 are color B. And then stitches 18, 19, and 20 are color A. And I'm just periodically giving my whatever color that I'm stitching around, just giving it a little tug just so that the tension is nice and even and we don't have any funny loops sticking on the other side. So you're probably wondering what this is going to look like. You saw the preview, so our little bow here, or big bow, it's kind of a big bow, is starting to pop out. Alright, so let's recap of what we're going to be doing for this round. So you're going to just repeat stitches 1 through 20 all the way around. So stitches 1, 2, and 3 are color A, 4, 5, 6, 7 color B, 8, 9 color A, 10, 11 color B, 12, 13 color A, 14, 15, 16, 17 color B, 18, 19, 20 are color A. And you're just going to repeat that around for round 11. Alright, so we finished up round 11, so let's get ready for round 12. So round 12 with color A, you're going to, stitches 1 and 2 are going to be color A. And stitches 3 through 8 are going to be color B. So 3 through 8, color B. And then stitch 9 is going to be color A. Alright, so now we're ready for stitch 9 here with color A. And we're going to change to color B. And stitches 10 and 11 are color B. Stitch 12 is color A. And we're going to change back to color B. Stitches 13 through 18 are color B. And then stitches 19 and 20 are color A. Alright, so let's recap real quick for your sequence of 20. Stitches 1 and 2 are color A. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are color B. So 3 through 8 are color B. Stitch 9 is color A. 10, 11 is color B. 12 is color A. 13 through 18 is color B. And 19 and 20 is color A. So you're going to repeat that all the way around. Alright, so I finished up round 12, so our bows are starting to pop out. So let's get ready for round 13. So round 13, we're going to start with color A. So stitches 1 and 2 are going to be color A. And then stitch 3 is going to be color B. And we're going to switch back to color A. So stitches 4 through 8 are going to be color A. And then stitch 9 is going to be color B. And stitches 10 and 11 are going to be color A. And stitch 12 is going to be color B. I'm going to need to finish that one off with color A. So stitches 13 through 17 are going to be color A. And then stitch 18 is going to be color B. And then stitches 19 and 20 are color A. Alright, so our bow's taking shape. So quick recap. So stitches 1 and 2 are color A, stitch 3 is color B, stitches 4, 5, 6 through 8. So stitches 4 through 8 are color A, stitch 9 is color B, 10, 11 color A, stitch 12 color B, 13 through 17 is color A, stitch 18 is color B, and 19 and 20 are color A. So you're going to repeat that all the way around for round 13. Alright, so let's get ready for stitch 14, or round 14, not stitch 14. So our bow is starting to pop out there. So stitches 1 and 2 are going to be with color A. And then 3 and 4 are color B. And then stitches 5, 6, and 7 are going to be color A. And stitches 8 and 9 are color B. And stitches 10 and 11 are color A. And stitches 12 and 13 are color B. And stitches 14, 15, and 16 are color A. "17 and 18 are color B. And then our last two stitches, 19 and 20, are color A. Alrighty, so let's recap that real quick. Stitches 1 and 2 are color A, 3 and 4 are color B, 5, 6, and 7 are color A, 8 and 9 are color B, 10, 11 color A, 12, 13 color B, 14, 15, 16 color A, 17, 18 color B, and 19 and 20 are color A. So you're going to repeat that all the way around for round 14. Alright, so let's get ready for round 15. So our bows are getting close to being done. So stitches 1 and 2 are color A. And stitches 3 through 8 are color B. Oops, I didn't switch off here. There we go. Alright, so then stitches 9 through 12 are going to be color A. And stitches 13 through 18 are going to be color B. And then stitches 19 and 20 are color A. Alright, so let's recap that real quick. So stitches 1 and 2 are color A. Stitches 3 through 8 are color B. 9 through 12 are color A. 13 through 18 are color B. And 19 and 20 are color A. So you're just going to repeat that all the way around for round 15. Alright, so now we're going to get ready for round 16, and then our bow section is going to be complete. Alright, so stitches 1 and 2 are going to be color A. And stitch 3 is also going to be color A. Stitches 4 through 7 are going to be color B. Stitches 8 through 13 are going to be color A. Stitches 14 through 17 are going to be color B. And then stitches 18 through 20 are color A. And then our first sequence of 20 will be complete. You can see she's wanting to twist around, it's getting annoying. The hazards of working with two colors sometimes. Alright. So let's go over our sequence of 20 here. So stitches 1, 2, and 3 are color A. Stitches 4, 5, 6, 7 are color B. 8 through 13 are color A. 14 through 17 are color B, and 18 through 20 are color A. So you want to repeat that all the way around for round 16. Alright, so we have finished up our color work section here, our picture section with our bows, and I think they're really cute. And as you can see, I took out my stitch marker because what you're going to want to do at the end of this round with color A, we are not going to cut color B because we're going to need to use her a little bit later. I'm going to join in my first stitch, and then we're going to get ready to work round 17 using color A. So I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet right in that same stitch, and I'm going to continue to single crochet all the way around for my round 17 here. So really easy. You do not have to sandwich the color at all. You can just let her hang free because we will be picking that one up not that long, a couple rounds later. So just continue with your color A, just working your single crochet all the way around, and you will still have your 80 stitches. So I'm going to meet you back at the end of round 17. Alright, so I'm on my second to my last stitch of round 17 here. So I am going to work my last single crochet, and then I'm going to finish that off because now we're going to bring back color C. So I'm going to finish that stitch off because we're going to begin round 18 with color C. So there we go. And I'm not going to cut color A. So we've got a lot of colors hanging out here, but it just helps with the ends. So I'm going to join in my first stitch with my slip stitch there. And now I'm ready to go to work round 18 with color C. So what you're going to want to do is chain 1, and you're just going to double crochet right in that same stitch. Normally you chain 3 and that counts as a double crochet, but I'm trying to make it as seamless as possible. I mean, you can see it a little bit down here, but then in here, you know, where we work the continuous rounds, you don't have that obvious seam, which is nice, especially with this color work section. Alright, so for the rest of round 18, you're just going to work even, double crocheting all the way around. So at the end of your round 18, you should still have 80 stitches. So I'm going to keep going with color C, working my double crochet all the way around for round 18. So I will meet you back. Alright, so I am finishing up my last stitch here, and you are going to want to change to color B. So I'm going to grab my red because that's my color B, and I'm just going to finish off that stitch, and we will join on top of that first double crochet there and get ready to work round 19 with color B. So round 19, you're going to chain 1, you're going to double crochet right in that same stitch, and then in our next stitch we're going to work a front post double crochet. In our next stitch we're going to work a regular double crochet, and this is the repeat here, so a regular double crochet, and then our next stitch front post double crochet, and you're going to continue that all the way around. So regular double crochet, front post double crochet. So you're going to repeat that all the way around for round 19. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I finished up, or I'm almost done round 19 here. I'm just going to work my final front post double crochet, and at the end of round 19 I'm going to change to color A. So that is my green there, color A, so whatever your color A is, and I'm going to join in my first stitch with a slip stitch. Alright, so now let's get ready to work round 20. So round 20, we're going to do the opposite of what we did for round 19. I'm going to chain 1, and my first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So we're just going to work around that guy. And then my second stitch is going to be a regular double crochet. And then our repeat begins. So our first stitch of the repeat is front post double crochet. We have a tangle. Alright, so let's go back to what we were doing. So working our front post double crochet, and then our second stitch, or our second stitch is a regular double crochet. So again, front post double crochet, regular double crochet, and you're going to repeat that all the way around for round 20. So your last stitch will be a regular double crochet, and then you will want to switch back to color C. So that, for me, that's going to be white. So at the end of round 20, my last stitch, I'm going to change to color C, and then we're going to get ready to shrink this guy up because, you know, we got a big hole there. We got to do something about that. So I will meet you back at the end of round 20. Alright, so I finished up round 20, and as you can see, I've already joined, and I'm ready to go with my color C here. So round 21, we are going to start decreasing to get this into a hat shape. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to double crochet right in that same stitch for our first stitch. And we're going to do this in a sequence of 10. So this is stitch 1, a regular double crochet. Stitch 2 is a front post double crochet. Stitch 3, regular double crochet. 4, front post double crochet. 5, regular double crochet. 6, front post double crochet. 7, regular double crochet. And now we are at our last 3 stitches, 8, 9, and 10. So what we're going to do is we are going to work a front post double crochet around stitches 8 and 10. We are actually going to just bypass stitch 9. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, working a front post like you're working a front post double crochet in that one, we're going to skip over that one and then just pick up stitch 10 like that, and we're going to work our decrease stitch, or not our well, we're going to work our front post double crochet, but it creates a decrease stitch. So we've just combined those guys. So we're going to repeat that one more time. So stitch 1, regular double crochet, stitch 2, front post double crochet, 3, regular double crochet, 4, oops, I skipped a stitch there. I'm like, something's not right. Not paying attention. So this is stitch 2, this is stitch 3, stitch 4 is front post double crochet, 5, regular double crochet, 6, front post double crochet, 7, regular double crochet. So now we're back to decreasing, just working our front post double crochet, combining 2 stitches. So here's stitch 8, I've got my yarn over, so getting that ready to go, skipping over stitch 9 and just jumping to stitch 10 and working that decrease stitch. And the reason why we're doing it is it keeps with the pattern, because then our first stitch is a regular double crochet, because we're working regular double crochet, front post double crochet, regular double crochet, front post double crochet. So you want to keep with the pattern, the stitch pattern. So that's why we're doing that. So you want to repeat that all the way around for round 21. Alright, so I am finishing up my round 21 here, working my final decrease. And at the end of round 21, I am going to switch back to color B, which is my red. So finish that guy off, and then I'm going to join in my first stitch there. So at the end of your round 21, you're going to have a total of 64 stitches. So we went from 80, so now we're down to 64. So we're slowly getting the top smaller. Alright, so round 22 is going to be an even round. So I'm going to chain 1. My first stitch here is going to be a front post double crochet, and my next second stitch is going to be regular double crochet, we're tangling up again. This red yarn is actually, it's pretty garbage yarn, to be honest. It's just like the worst texture. It seems to stick. It's definitely not wool. Wool can sometimes stick, but it's just terrible. So, but it looks cute in this hat, so you know, I'm finding a use for it. Alright, so our next stitch is front post double crochet and then regular double crochet. So you want to continue that all the way around. So it's going to be front post double crochet, regular double crochet, front post double crochet, regular double crochet all the way around. So I will meet you back, and then you're going to want to change to your color A at the end of round 22. Alright, so I finished up round 22. Now I'm ready for round 23. That's going to be another decrease round. So we are going to chain 1, and I've got my color A, and I'm going to double crochet right in that same stitch for my first stitch. My second stitch, this is going to be a sequence of 8. So this is stitch 2 is a front post double crochet. Stitch 3 is regular double crochet, 4 front post double crochet, 5 regular double crochet, and then stitches 6, 7, 8 we will decrease. So we're going to do the same thing. So I've yarned over. So this is stitch 6, bypass stitch 7, and put your hook in stitch 8 and work your front post double crochet, and then we'll continue in pattern. So first stitch is regular double crochet, second stitch front post double crochet, third stitch regular double crochet, fourth stitch front post double crochet, fifth stitch regular double crochet, And we're ready to decrease again. So stitches 6, 7, 8. So yarn over, get your hook around that first stitch, bypass stitch 7 and put your hook in stitch 8, and then work your front post double crochet. And so you're going to continue that all the way around for round 23. And then at the end of round 23, you are going to change back to color C. So for me, that's my white. And we're going to do an even round for round 24. So I'm going to do this round and then I'll meet you back at the end of this round. All right, so I'm going to finish up round 23 here with my final decrease. And at the end of round 23, you will have 48 stitches. So I'm going to grab my color C here, finish off that last stitch, and we're going to get ready for round 24. So round 24, we're just working even, so I'm going to chain 1 and work my front post double crochet around that first stitch there, and then my second stitch is going to be regular double crochet, and we're back to our sequence of front post double crochet, regular double crochet all the way around for round 24. So again, we're going to have 48 stitches. So we are definitely, you know, slowly shrinking up the top of this hat. We're getting there. All right, so I'm going to keep going, working around 24 here, working evens. And working even means just one stitch in each stitch. You're not increasing, you're not decreasing. So I'm going to keep doing that and I'll meet you back. All right, so I'm finishing up my round 24, working even, and I'm going to switch to color B, this total garbage yarn, this red yarn. It is just, feels awful. It's, the only good thing about it is it's the color red. It's, I think, some anciently old acrylic. It's driving me crazy. All right, so I'm going to join in my first stitch. And the nice thing is, at the end of this round, I am done with color B, this great red, and I can cut it. All right, so we are going to get ready for round 25. It's going to be another decrease round, and we're going to decrease in a sequence of 6. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm just working a regular double crochet in that first stitch. Stitch 2 is a front post double crochet, 3 regular double crochet, and then stitches 4, 5, and 6 will be the decrease. So yarn over 4, skip over 5, and pick up 6, and just work that front post stitch around those two guys. And we're back in our pattern. So stitch 1, regular double crochet, 2 front post double crochet, 3 regular double crochet, and 4, 5, and 6 is our front post double crochet, but we're only working around stitches 4 and 6. And you're just going to keep repeating that all the way around for round 25. Alright, so I'm going to finish up my round 25 here, my last decrease in this dreadful yarn. And then I'm going to pick up my color A, and I'm going to join in my first stitch there. And at the end of this round, you're going to have a total of 32 stitches, and yay, I can cut this awful, dreadful yarn. It's just like the scratchiest acrylic. It's super old. I think it's some kind of vintage, like very vintage, probably from the 70s possibly yarn. Like she's old. Alright, so we've got 2 more rounds to go and then our hat will be done, which is exciting. So this is going to be an even round for round 26, so I'm going to chain 1. And my first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. Second stitch is going to be a regular double crochet. Third and stitch is going to be, we're back in our sequence, so front post double crochet, regular double crochet, alternating back and forth. So at the end of this round, you'll join, and before you join, you'll want to change to color C, and then you'll be able to cut color A. So we are definitely on the home stretch on this hat here. So I'm going to keep going, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I finished up round 26. I'm going to cut my color A. I don't need color A anymore. And we are going to finish up this hat. So this, I have color C here ready to go. We're going to decrease one more time. We are going to do it in a sequence of 4. So we're going to chain 1, work a single crochet, or not a single crochet, a double crochet in that same stitch. And then stitches, so now this is 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to work the decrease. So yarn over, start our front post double crochet, skip over stitch 3, and then jump to stitch 4, and then just work that front post double crochet. And our next stitch is a stitch 1, and then stitch 2, get ready to work the decrease already, skip over stitch 3, and jump to stitch 4. So you're going to keep doing that all the way around. So I will meet you back at the end of round 27. Alright, so I worked my final decrease here for round 27. I'm going to join in my first stitch. And at the end of round 27, you're going to have a total of 16 stitches left. So we just have this little hole left and we need to close that up. So I am going to show you my technique that I like to use to close up holes when I'm working bottom up. And it's a technique I kind of borrowed from knitting. So if you've done any hats with me before, worked bottom up, then you'll see this technique. This technique will be familiar to you. What you're going to need is your current hook and another hook. It can be a size up or down. It's quite alright. It doesn't really matter. Just don't want it to be, 3 sizes up or 3 sizes down. So I have an eye hook here, 5.5 millimeter. You might even want to use a third, but I'll be able to just use 2. So what you want to do is you want to have your loop on your hook pretty snug to start with, and we are going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop there. But we're not going to work it off. We're going to continue to just insert our hook into each stitch, pulling up our loops for as many loops as we can fit on this current hook. So I'm just going around here. And then when you can't fit anymore, when it just gets to be too difficult, then you're going to get your second hook. So I think we're good there with that one. I'm going to grab my other hook here, and I am going to insert my hook into the next stitch right there. And there's my working yarn. I'm just going to yarn over and pull up a loop there. And I'm just going to continue with this other hook, pulling up the remainder of my loops here. And if you need to get a third hook, that's quite alright, but I'm going to be able to cram them all in on just 2. And I got 1 more to go. Alright, so I've got all my stitches on my hooks there. So what you're going to do to work these guys off is we're going to do a yarn over, and we're going to do a giant slip stitch all through those loops. So you want to, don't want to rip through it too fast. You want to kind of take your time, because if you lose one, then you have to start over, and who wants to do that? Alright, so I've got my yarn over. I'm going to pull through just a couple stitches at a time, or you could do one at a time. It's up to you. Alright, so I've worked those guys off. So what you'll do is this loop, you're going to pop it on to the next hook. You can get rid of that guy, and you just want to make sure that loop is fairly snug on your hook, and then just continue to pull through the rest of the loops. And there you go. And then you'll take your you'll take your scissors, cut your yarn, pull that through, and then you can pull it tight, and then you have a nice neat finish there. And then what I like to do is I usually take my hook, put it in the inside of the hat, poke it through that hole. Where is the hole there? There we go. I like to grab the loop, or not the loop, the tail there, and just pull it through. And then I usually grab the tail from the inside of the hat, And I just like to pull it kind of tight to get it closed up nice and tight. And there you can see you have a really nice neat finish there for the top of your hat. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to weave in your ends here, and so we don't have too many ends because, you know, we did carry our yarn, which definitely helps with that. And then you might want to block your hat, which I probably will, because this, just kind of to clean it, because again, this awful yarn was sitting quite a while. And then if you want to add a pom-pom or whatever, you know, you want to personalize it, feel free to do that. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.